Do you wish you could be more of yourself? One of the sexiest things in life is self-awareness. Picture this scenario. Hi, how are you? I'm fine, thanks. How are you? I'm okay, thanks. According to mind.org.uk, 1 in 4 people will experience a mental health problem each year in England. 1 in 6 people will experience a mental health problem such as anxiety and depression each week. We live in a world where it is not okay to not be okay. We judge others for not being okay. We judge ourselves for not being okay. We blame ourselves for not being okay. There's something innately wrong with us when we are not okay. Not being okay is wrong. Saying you're not okay is seen as wrong. It's deemed as weak, not normal. It is basically taboo. So instead of expressing what is really going on with us, we fake the norm by saying, I am okay, when we're really not. Or we make a self-deprecating joke about how we really feel in an attempt to normalize it. My hope here today is to encourage you to express the truth of how you really are the next time you are asked this question, how are you? I also want to encourage you to be open to receiving how others are when they tell you how they are, without judgment. Yes, I know. Privacy, right? Look, I'm not saying go around telling the whole world your life story. The world is already going through a lot as it is. But I'm asking you to open your heart. I don't know if you already practice this or not, but if you don't, give it a try. You can start small with the people in your family, your closest friends, your best friends. Tell them how you really are. When they tell you how they are, you receive them without judgment. You can extend this to other people in your life, people at work perhaps, somebody you're close with. This helps connection between people. This helps bring about the closeness that you want to feel when you express your true self to someone else. In an online article on psychologytoday.com, psychologist Leon Salter outlines 10 reasons why feeling understood is crucial for our mental health and our well-being. He talks about how, as social creatures, we need a certain amount of external interactions to feel real, and that when we experience being misunderstood, the connection with others is temporarily severed. We feel invalidated as though we do not exist. One point that stood out for me in this article, and let this one sink in, is when he says depression is closely tied to feelings of separation and estrangement. When we are having a conversation with someone and we articulate to them our own understanding of what they've just said, it may create a better comprehension of what they are communicating, which then helps them understand themselves better and help them feel empowered in how they are. So essentially, other people's willingness to actively listen and pay attention to us and feel into us empowers us. This, however, goes beyond the ego or validating the ego or the need to have others make us feel better about ourselves. By that I mean not needing other people to validate your feelings, but instead looking for them to hear you and go deep with you to help you make sense of how you are in that moment. So if feeling understood speaks to our primal sense of security and well-being, then let us create a new culture of openness and honesty. With our willingness to feel into others and eliminate judgment, but in turn promote compassion and empathy. Let us encourage others to reach into their own hearts by doing so ourselves. I believe that honesty brings us closer together. You would be surprised how compassionate and empathetic people are when you are honest, when you are speaking your truth and not faking it. Faking it makes others do the same, exactly the same, and the judgment cycle continues. It perpetuates itself because you're giving me your fakeness and I feel that energy and I give you the same right back. We can't expect people to love our fakeness. You can't expect them to know what's underneath the fakeness. That is a cause for frustration. If this sounds too kumbaya for you, maybe it is. And this is not a video for you. But if you're willing to go there, then keep listening, because we have to start somewhere. If you want to build meaningful relationships, if you want to live your life freely, if you want to feel good about yourself and live up to your potential, keep listening. So here's a question for you. What is the alternative of not opening up, being yourself, and living up to your potential? It has been proven that as human beings, we have an innate fear of not being something or somebody, a fear of not amounting to anything, not living up to our potential, the fear of not coming into your true self, living the life of purpose, whether it's at work or having the family that you love, that you dream of, or living off grid, or having the business that you want to create in this lifetime. Whatever it is, human beings have a fear of not being able to achieve what they want. On the flip side, however, we also have a fear of not showing up as ourselves and truly being ourselves. And the trouble with that is this. When we're not being ourselves, we can't live up to our true potential. We end up faking ourselves and fitting a mold that's not meant for us. It is like polar opposites. On one side, you've got the fear of not amounting to anything in your life, wanting to have that thing that you want that makes you innately happy. And on the other hand, you're afraid to go out there and get it. And the only way you can get it is by being yourself. So you go around trying so hard to get to this place by faking yourself. So I ask you again, what is the alternative of not being your true self? Imagine being out with your friends. You know each other for a very long time. You go out for dinner and you start off with the nice pleasantries. How are you? How was the day? How was the drive? And nobody really gets deep. Nobody really connects because people have been busy working the whole week. They're too afraid to connect and say, you know what I really want is this. Nobody wants to break the mold of I am okay. They don't want to show that their life isn't as perfect as they say, as they portray. So we end up having these meaningless interactions with our friends and even sometimes our families. I'm not saying go and disturb the peace. I'm not saying have an intervention all the time. Not every interaction should be an intervention. But if we live with this openness and honesty at the back of our minds, we will always be ready to be ourselves and not fake ourselves. Would always be open to being honest. Yes, go out, have fun with your friends, but surround yourself with people who can receive your honesty and build you up to where you want to be, and not keep you fake, because they themselves are also fake. I don't blame them for being how they are. It is our culture at the end of the day. So here's another question. Why do we fake ourselves so much? Why is it our culture? Why is it in our culture to be fake, to not be ourselves, to not show our true existence? Here's what I think. I think we express ourselves in this way because we have been conditioned to think that if we tell the truth of how we really are, how imperfect we really are, we are wrong and abnormal. And as such, we are disturbing the superficial peace, the calm. Our friends and others will judge us for expressing ourselves in this way. And sadly, they themselves are not aware that they're doing this. And that's because this culture of I am okay is so deeply ingrained in us. So instead of expressing our true nature, our true selves, our true feelings, we fake it and accept other people's fakeness as truth. We barely ever scratch the surface. We carry this around everywhere we go, spreading this superficiality like wildfire. This is very evident and reflected in other areas beyond just how we've been conditioned to answer the question. And this conditioning is the reason we fake our lives. And unfortunately, it is also the cause of a lot of mental and emotional imbalance, such as anxiety, depression, loneliness, you name it. I'm sure you know somebody who suffers from some form of depression. They don't really tell you that it's depression. They wouldn't dare. Because there's a stigma when it comes to talking about emotional and mental health. And that comes from us not opening up and being our true selves. We're being taught not to share those parts of ourselves. It's taboo. To loosely paraphrase Jim Carrey's wise words, we walk around wearing avatars or video game skins as though we were in a video game or a movie. We are essentially like the Wizard of Oz, pretending to be this magnificent, larger-than-life being, but our true, authentic selves lies behind the curtains. This wears heavy on our mental state. The truth is, as I'm saying this to you right now, I recognize how deeply ingrained this way of expressing ourselves is in us and in our socio-economic structures, and how it feels like it's going to take a very long time for it to change, for us to learn new ways of expressing ourselves. On the contrary, however, I know that this change is needed and it is imminent, because as a species, we are destined to evolve, to grow. Some of us will grow exponentially in this lifetime, and some of us will struggle with our egos, with our cloaks, with our avatars and our skins. And I know that this new way of expressing ourselves is attainable in some degree in our lifetime. It will take a village, perhaps a country, or several, to make this change. But it begins with me and you. So next time you are asked this question, how are you? Try to speak your truth and trust and believe that human beings are innately good and they will receive you in kind. So I encourage you to reach in your heart and help create this new culture of openness, honesty, compassion, and empathy the world so needs. Thank you for listening to me today. Love and light. Bye.
Car on était les enfants de l'autodestruction.